So yes guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Movement6 and welcome back to a new video. And as a growing habit, I first want to thank all of the new subs this week. Your support really means a lot to me, and welcome to the community. If you're new here and you haven't subbed yet, please sub and stay up to date and put on the notifications. Now, I haven't been really active in the last few days on social media in general. There is a lot of things going on which I can't disclose a lot right now, and the only thing I can tell you is that we have been building a home, me and my family, for the last year and a half, and it's almost done. The 2nd of September we will get the key, we have the official transfer, and we can start building the interiors. So the background you see here now will change a lot because I'm going to built a huge studio for streaming, techno, producing, and DJing. So I'm planning to make a video on that, on how that progress is going. So stay tuned for that because it's going to be awesome, I would say. On the other side, there are a few other things I can't disclose right now, and I will check back with you later on because I'm planning to do a personal video on that. For now, I want to change things up because I want to speak about Nintendo in general. I'm a sucker for Nintendo, although I haven't owned any of the consoles in the last few generations. I've started gaming when the Commodore 64 was a thing. Yeah, guys, the Nintendo of the Commodore 64 was a thing. Some of us also owned MSX, like me. I also owned an MSX and a Commodore 64. It were pioneering times. You had to fill in a hole, and if you're unfamiliar, which I'm not really guessing that people who are watching this are unfamiliar with the Commodore 64. If not, just Google it, you will see it. You need to type in strings of codes, run cost // and then the name of the game, and then more and more, and then when you're done, you press enter and the play button on the cassette recorder at the same time, and it will start loading the application or the game into the computer, which was a painstaking 15 minutes of noise coming from a cassette recorder. The MSX later on had cartridges already, but it wasn't really... There were a lot of flaws and errors in that machine. Eventually, we went from that to the Atari, the 2000 I had, and it were floppy disk, either harder or softer ones, but the amount of memory on that was very limited, so sometimes you had 7 to 12 floppy disks you need to constantly run in your computer to play a game. Well, a little bit fast forward, out of nowhere, Nintendo, a company, launched the Nintendo Entertainment System, a console specifically designed for games, a gaming console, which was revolutionary in terms of games. It introduced the Mario franchise, of course. The way it operates, the loading times, it was really almost flawless that the cassettes worked. You opened up the big gray box, you put it in, you clicked it, and it ran. It was amazing. Then the Nintendo Entertainment System was followed by the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and Sega tried to enter the market as well. And yes, we could do a whole video on who was better, the Super Nintendo or the Sega Mega Drive from the top of my head. There are pros and cons on each system, right? So, but eventually we went from that area to that area, and eventually the Nintendo came out with the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and I've owned them all. But eventually, during that period, a tiny little company called Sony said, well, we're going to do things differently. F off with your cartridges. We are going all in on the DVD, standard DVD model, I would say, with the PlayStation 1. The GameCube also had discs, but just like Nintendo is also a bit stubborn in that area, they used those very small discs. It was a great console, the GameCube. It was a great console. But eventually it deviated a lot from the standardized DVD we had at the time, which was, of course, a great way to open up a whole bigger market because everybody knew that standard. So I left Nintendo, and eventually I started owning the PlayStations and the Xbox and the Ones and the 360s and the 3 and the 2 and now the 4 and the Xbox One, and fine. But eventually the Wii U never got hold of me in that sense because I think it's a failed console. Different topic, but the Switch always had my attention. I think it shows that Nintendo got his mojo back in terms of innovation, and of course the games itself are still Well, Nintendo always had its own market, right? And they really exploited very well. And I think this Nintendo Switch really proves the innovation power that Nintendo always had and they were always known for. So when I was about to walk to the store to finally say, yes, I'm going to do it, I want to play Zelda Breath of the Wild. The other Zelda is a bit of a remake of the first few games. The Mario Karts, the Luigi Mansions, and the other Marios that are out there. I want to play them now. But now, when I was literally on my way, the announcements came out that Nintendo is upgrading also the base model. I would say, as everybody now knows that the Nintendo Switch will also get the hardware upgrade. And let me read this out. After what felt like a year of near constant rumors, Nintendo officially unveiled the Switch Lite yesterday. It isn't quite finished updating its latest console lineup just yet. On top of the new all-in-one design and a $100 price drop, the Switch Lite will also carry the modernized internals. And now, according to recent file documentations within the Federal Communication Commission, the Nintendo Switch will also be getting the updated processor power and memory upgrades. Just to avoid confusion here, the FCC filing is indeed patenting the original Switch, not the rumored Pro model. Many thought, well, okay, that's just clarifying what we see here. But this is the most important thing. Details are thin at the best of the upcoming original Switch upgrade. The document refers to the new SoC, so the systems on a chip, and the upgraded flash storage for the solid-state drive. Some have pointed out the 4-plus-year-old Tegra X1 processor is currently housed inside the standard Switch, isn't exactly cutting edge anymore. Now, if you read on in all the other articles, you will see that the base model with the 4-plus-year-old Tegra X1 processor will have a 2.5 hour to approximately 4.5 hour lifespan when in handheld mode. And for me, that is that was always a bit of. I frequently travel, right, also to the US or to other parts of the world, and I like to have a gaming console with me. So I had the PlayStation Portable, then I had the PlayStation Vita, but eventually the Vita is not really supported anymore, and I miss portable games. I think Mod Nation Racer is still fun, but I've played it around too many times. I think the games for Nintendo, I wouldn't say that they're built for handheld gaming, but they are more suitable for it. So you're not going to play Resident Evil just for half an hour and then later wait to do something else, right? Sony's games are running on a Sony or Xbox, for that matter, if the third party, they are meant to play on a big TV and a big screen, right? So yes, you can play the God of Wars, and yes, there are gems out there, and maybe some other games you would say in the comments, oh, but this is a good game. Fine, but to me, the games for Nintendo are really built for on the go. They're more suitable for that. But the battery life was a 2.5 to 4.5 hour span. But now with the upgrade system you will get in the new model that is going to release somewhere mid-August, end of August, depending on where you live on this planet, you will have a 4.5 to 9.5 hours of playtime. And that is huge. That is huge. Depending on the software you're running, of course, fully back you. But going from 2.5 to 4.5 is almost already a doubling when you're playing really processor or IOPS intensive games. But if you're playing less intensive games, I could think that a Mario game is maybe less intense. I don't know, I need to check that out. But you're going to maybe up to 9.5 hours of lifespan of your battery. That's huge. And that's why, Nintendo, you are delaying purchasing me a Switch right now. I am waiting for this new hardware model. So I'm really also keen on understanding from you guys, are there any games, do you own a Switch? Do you? And are there any games you advise me to play and to get when I get my Switch? I'm really keen on understanding that. I know Zelda Breath of the Wild, and there's a remake from that Zelda. I know the Marios, the Luigi Mansions, and the Mario Karts. But just tell me, is there a game I'm not mentioning here that you say, oh, this is a game you need to play, MV, you need to do it? Then put it in the comments and leave a like, guys. As said, this video was just to do something different, just tell you guys where I'm at, what I'm after. I want to buy the Switch. I think it's a huge upgrade. And maybe you guys also say, hey, I'm going to delay my purchase of the Switch as well. Let me know in the comments, because I think this is a quantum leap forward. In the next few days period, I'm going to do a personal update. I think somewhere mid next week on what's going on in my life and explain a bit more in detail what I'm working on in general. I will explain in a bit more detail as well on how my new studio is going to look. It's going to be freaking awesome. I upgraded my mic. I've got a good webcam right now. We'll be streaming a lot more via Twitch. First wanted to get my hang around editing the YouTube videos, and I'm going to move more and more to Twitch as well. And I'm going to do a huge video on Rainbow Six Siege. I will start making more videos about the TTS, or the test servers. I will make more videos about the patch notes and what's coming in the new season, because there's a lot of change coming to Rainbow Six in the new season. And I will do also a video on how we're progressing with the team, right? We're playing every night now. We're making huge progress here. We even, well, yesterday was madness. We had a few 1v4s we won, so it's fantastic and some good gameplay there, so stay tuned. And if you're new here and you've watched this video, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and I'm really keen always to understand what you think of the videos, guys. So for now, Movement 6 out, back to the madness.